gosh, it's him.
Welcome home, kiddo.
This was the long-awaited reunion moment for father and daughter. Strangely, though, the usually lively and cheerful girl now appeared elegant and poised.
What's the matter? I cut myself shaving?
No, it's just seeing you for the first time. I mean, you know, in so long.
Although Nick noticed his daughter stammered a bit, he didn't dwell on it, intending to make it up to her. He was completely unaware that this daughter who returned was actually his other daughter. He had never met. A few weeks ago, Annie was an elegant and poised young lady, arriving in a luxury car to attend the globally renowned summer camp. But on her very first day entering here, she encountered something strange. There was a girl here who looked exactly like her. Both were startled by the other's appearance. The girl before her seemed quite lively. Her stylish earrings and trendy nail polish stood in stark contrast to the refined young lady Annie. It turned out they not only looked identical, but even shared the exact same birth date.
How old are you? I'll be 12 on October 11th. So will I.
Then they talked about their parents. Annie never had a father growing up, while Hallie never had a mother.
You've never seen your mom, and I've never seen my dad. You have one old picture of your mom, and I have one old picture of my dad.
Mentioning photos, Hallie hurriedly pulled out her only picture of her mother. Annie quickly followed suit, taking out her only picture of her father.
3.
If everything before was just coincidence, these coincidences now converged into an indisputable fact. They were twin sisters who had never met each other. Shortly after their birth, their parents divorced. Annie went to London, England with their mother, while Hallie lived in California, USA with their father. But due to different family environments, Annie, influenced by her mother, appeared graceful and poised, while Hallie, accompanied by her father, seemed lively and cheerful. Filled with curiosity about each other's family life, they began describing their own mom and dad. To their surprise, both their parents were still single. So, the two little girls made a bold decision to switch identities and experience the other life. They believed that even if the secret was eventually discovered, their parents would swap them back and maybe even reconcile. With swift determination, they dove into deep preparation the very next day. Hallie meticulously described every corner of her home and every family member to Annie. Annie taught Hallie the household's unique greeting gesture. But to completely fool their parents, they needed to transform their appearances. So Annie unhesitatingly cut off her long hair. This wasn't enough, however, as Hallie wore earrings, but Annie did not. To leave no clues, Annie had to pierce her ears right then. She numbed her earlobe with ice, lit a match to sterilize the needle, placed an apple behind her ear, then gritted her teeth and drove the needle through. From this moment on, they officially became each other. As the summer camp ended, the sisters' plan swung into action. After a clear division of tasks, Hallie boarded Annie's luxurious stretch limousine, then took a flight bound for London. On the plane, Hallie's heart churned like stormy waves. She didn't know if her mother would accept and love her. Soon the plane landed in London. The butler, Martin, arrived right away to take Hallie home. However, Hallie's short hair quickly caught his attention. Hallie cleverly brushed it off, saying she simply wanted a new hairstyle. She then used the unique greeting Annie had taught her. And just like that, Hallie skillfully dispelled Martin's doubts. Visiting London for the first time, she was filled with curiosity about everything around her, instantly captivated by the city's bustling sights. Hallie then arrived at her mother's residence.
Annie?
Mother.
You're back!
I can't believe it's you.
And with short hair. Who cut it for you?
A girl I met at camp. Do you hate it?
No, I absolutely love it. Oh, darling, what is it?
It's just, I've missed you so much.
I know. It seems like it's been forever.
Hallie stepped lightly into her mother's room. Every decoration here spoke of refinement and elegance. Elizabeth was a renowned wedding dress designer in London, whose creations were even favored by a Greek princess. In the following days, Hallie bathed in the warmth of maternal love. Elizabeth often took Hallie to her studio, where her mother's focused and graceful work radiated an intellectual charm. However, Hallie carried an important mission this trip: to uncover the romantic story of how their parents met. Facing her daughter's persistent questioning, Elizabeth quickly sensed something unusual. Her usually well-behaved daughter seemed unusually interested in topics about her father today. Under Hallie's insistence, Elizabeth could only briefly recount their meeting. It was on an ocean liner traveling from New York to London, where they met and instantly sparked a connection, then quickly fell in love, and soon after stepped into marriage. From Elizabeth's tone, it was clear that despite years of divorce, she held no resentment toward her ex-husband Nick, maintaining a peaceful attitude instead. Meanwhile, Annie smoothly arrived in California, USA.
Hey, Hal!
Oh gosh, it's him.
Welcome home, kiddo.
Annie quickly ran to her father's side, but Nick found it strange that his usually lively and cheerful daughter now appeared graceful and poised. Though Nick noticed his daughter stammered slightly, he didn't dwell on it, simply promising her a surprise when they got home. However, Annie's constant politeness and reserve soon revealed cracks.
And why do you keep saying Dad at the end of every sentence?
I'm sorry, I didn't realize I was doing it, Dad. Sorry, Dad.
Because you missed your old man so much, right?
It's because in my whole life, for the past 8 weeks, I was never able to say the word Dad.
Though somewhat unfamiliar, he was experiencing his daughter's gentle and refined side for the first time, feeling a warm surge of emotion inside. Soon the car slowly entered Nick's wine estate. Though outwardly understated, the estate's luxurious core was unmistakable. Annie was also filled with curiosity about her new surroundings. The nanny, Chessie, warmly came forward to greet her. She too sensed something off, but couldn't pinpoint what. The family's golden retriever, however, saw through everything. But Annie was facing an even more troubling issue. During her time at summer camp, her father had started a new romance. The so-called surprise he mentioned was actually the arrival of a future stepmother. Later, she learned from the nanny that the woman was named Meredith, whom Nick met while promoting his wine. Nick was no expert in romance, and Meredith might simply be attracted to his wealth. In a panic, Annie quickly contacted Hallie in London, hoping to arrange a meeting between their parents to stop this relationship from deepening. However, Hallie didn't want to reveal the truth so soon, fearing she would lose her mother's love. So she told Annie to find a way to handle it herself. Left with no choice, Annie had to face Meredith alone.
Hi.
Hi, Meredith Blake.
Wow, I can't believe I'm finally meeting the famous Hallie. I have looked forward to this all summer.
Really? Well, here I am.
At first sight, Annie's intuition told her Meredith was trouble. If this relationship continued, her parents' chances of reuniting would grow slimmer. So during Nick's brief absence, Annie deliberately jumped hard into the pool, splashing water directly onto Meredith. But Meredith hid her anger, putting on a kind and gentle front. It seemed this small trick wasn't enough to make Meredith back down. Nick, however, was deeply enchanted by Meredith and even began planning their wedding. Annie urgently interrupted upon hearing this.
And I want to talk to you about my mother. A girl needs more in life than half a crumpled old photograph. Dad, I'm almost a teenager. Face it. I need a mother.
Just then, Meredith hurried over, eagerly pushing Nick to speed up the wedding preparations. But Nick knew he had yet to gain his daughter's support, so he signaled for Meredith to leave first. Because of Annie's mischief the previous day, Meredith quickly realized that Annie was trying to sabotage her. Nick later sought Annie out, directly expressing his intentions to her.
I want to know what you think about making Meredith.
Totally. I mean, like it's a dream come true. I've always wanted a big sister.
Oh. Honey, I think you're kind of missing the point. I'm going to marry her.
Annie burned with anger upon hearing this, expressing her strong disapproval in fluent British English. Nick was deeply puzzled by this.
Are you speaking French?
I learned it at camp. Dad, you can't get married. It'll totally ruin completely everything.
Al.
As Nick sank into confusion and worry, Meredith appeared, asking about Annie's attitude. Learning of Annie's fierce reaction, she decided to speak with Annie herself. Facing Annie, however, Meredith was taken aback. Annie's maturity and resolve surpassed her expectations. She was no easy little girl to handle. Immediately after, Annie urgently sent another fax for help to Hallie. This fax, however, was unexpectedly intercepted by Martin. Just then, the grandfather ordered Martin to pour him wine. Having grown up on a wine estate, Hallie wanted to show off in front of her mother. She expertly swirled the glass, took a small sip, and then exaggeratedly smacked her lips.
Then again, I'm partial to the softer California grape.
She learned about wine at the summer camp.
At that moment, Hallie accidentally caught sight of the fax in Martin's hand. She tried to get closer for a clearer look, but lost her balance and fell off the stool. Hallie cleverly covered her mishap by claiming slight drunkenness and dizziness, then suggested stepping outside for fresh air. She then rushed into a phone booth to call Annie. From Annie, she learned shocking news. Their father was getting married in 2 weeks. This threw Hallie into instant panic, and she promised without hesitation to reveal the truth to their mother immediately. After hanging up, Hallie stepped out of the phone booth only to find her grandfather waiting outside. Clearly, he had overheard her conversation with Annie. Under her grandfather's watchful gaze, Hallie no longer hid anything and told him the entire plan, sincerely asking for his help. The truth was, her grandfather had been aware all along that Hallie wasn't Annie. Early the next morning, encouraged and accompanied by her grandfather, Hallie gathered her courage and decided to confess everything to her mother. She nervously burrowed under the blankets and then revealed her true identity to her mother.
You're not Annie. You're Hallie. I hope you're not mad because I love you so much, and I just hoped that one day you could love me as me and not as Annie.
At this moment, Elizabeth decided to take responsibility. She would accompany Hallie to California, USA, to swap the two girls back. Yet, just as they were about to set out, Elizabeth was overcome by an unprecedented anxiety. She worried the flow of time had stolen her former radiance, even fearing Nick might not recognize her anymore. Hallie keenly sensed that, despite the passing years, her mother's attachment to her father had never faded. To soothe Elizabeth's unease, Hallie spun a lie, telling her that Dad was already waiting at the San Francisco hotel and looking forward to their reunion. That San Francisco hotel was actually booked by Nick for his wedding to Meredith. The next day, they quickly arrived at the hotel. Elizabeth drank continuously along the way to bolster her courage, causing Hallie and Martin deep concern about her state. Meanwhile, Nick and Meredith also entered the hotel. Inside an elevator, Nick suddenly caught sight of Elizabeth. Elizabeth saw him being affectionate with someone else, but out of decorum, she still politely greeted Nick. Only then did she realize, as if waking from a dream, that her two daughters might have deceived her together. The two daughters confessed their plan. Their eyes filled with hope. They wished Elizabeth would stop Nick's wedding. But Elizabeth firmly stated she had no right to interfere in Nick's life and ordered the girls to tell Nick the truth. Meanwhile, Nick's heart was filled with urgency. He searched every corner of the hotel for a glimpse of Elizabeth. Whenever his gaze fell on a woman with short hair, he would involuntarily pause. Finally, at the other end of the pool, he saw Elizabeth's figure. In that moment, everything around him seemed to fade away, leaving only Elizabeth as the sole focus of his vision. In his excitement, Nick accidentally bumped into a waiter and then fell into the pool. This reunion spanning 11 years began in such a dramatic fashion. Elizabeth, though caught up in this sudden chaos, maintained her elegance and composure. But Nick's mind was filled with confusion. He questioned Elizabeth why she was here. Annie then stepped forward.
Hallie, you know who this is?
Actually, yes, and actually, I'm not Hallie. Actually, I am.
The two daughters explained everything to Nick. Hearing this, Nick wasn't angry. Instead, he felt it was fate's design that brought the sisters together at summer camp. Elizabeth then noticed the injury on Nick's head and hurried to fetch the first aid kit. In the process, their hearts drew closer together involuntarily. However, this beautiful moment didn't last long before Meredith suddenly appeared. Annie and Hallie hurried out to back up their mother.
And this is our mother, Elizabeth James.
This is your mother?
Yes.
You were married to him? Guilty again.
As night fell, the sisters guided their parents to the pier. A yacht waited quietly there. The cruise ship was provided by their grandfather, with soft lighting and carefully arranged details recreating the sweet scene of Nick and Elizabeth's first meeting. It was at this moment that Nick and Elizabeth finally sat down to reminisce about the past. Elizabeth once had a dream of becoming a designer. Nick once harbored dreams about wine. Time had passed, and now they shone brightly in their respective fields. Nick then asked Elizabeth why she insisted on leaving back then. Elizabeth said they were both too young then, emotions making them say too many hurtful things. She said that leaving was just an act of spite. But Nick didn't try to stop her. After 11 years, those past wounds and regrets now seemed to fade into a gentle smile, no longer so important. After all, Nick was now engaged to someone. So Elizabeth decided to leave with Annie tomorrow, but Nick was deep in thought. As night deepened, after settling the girls, Nick, holding on to the undiminished feelings in his heart, led Elizabeth into the family wine cellar. It housed wines he had collected for years, each bottle carrying a memory. One bottle was particularly special. It represented not only Nick's passion for wine, but also symbolized his deep affection for Elizabeth and his cherishing of the past years.
That one actually took me years to track down. It's the wine that we drank at our wedding. I now have every bottle ever made.
Can we open one?
You okay?
Oh, yeah.
You don't always have to be so brave, you know.
Oh, but I do, actually.
Their hearts drew close once more, but just as their emotions deepened, sudden headlights outside the door poured over them like cold rain. Elizabeth, with her characteristic strength, quietly buried her feelings once more. At the first light of dawn the next day, she bid Nick a final farewell. Then, disregarding the pouring rain, she resolutely left with Annie. It was as if the storm followed them from California all the way to London, every drop carrying the weight of farewell. In the car, Annie's tears fell like unstrung pearls. Elizabeth's heart was also a complex knot of emotions, loss and sorrow weaving an invisible net. Life is like this. Regrets always accompany us, becoming an indispensable part of our existence. After weathering the storm, Elizabeth and her daughter finally returned to the villa, and as they reported their safe return to her grandfather.
I made the mistake of not coming after you once, Lizzie. I'm not going to do that again, no matter how brave you.
And I suppose you just expect me to go weak at the knees and fall into your arms and cry hysterically and say, we'll just figure this whole thing out, a bicontinental relationship with our daughters being raised here and there, and you and I just picking up where we left off and growing old together and to live happily ever after?
Yes.
Oh, yes, I do.
This will be the one I've waited